We did miss you in class, and we're glad to have you back. It's been very quiet without you and DeMar in class these past few days, and you being out for the month and a half you were out for whatever reason you were out for.
If DeMar is out, it's going to be silent.
I'm not going to be here tomorrow.
Well, luckily, I'm going to tape the lesson. It's going to be on the internet, so you can go in Schoology and figure that out, just like I'm taping right now because I forgot to earlier in the day, so don't say anything appropriate, guys. You're being listened to. Don't worry, you're not being watched, though. All right, so just FYI, make sure everybody's on the same page. On Tuesday, day one, we went over nuclear power. We watched half of Chernobyl Heart. On Wednesday, yesterday, we went over energy from biomass, numbers 30 through 31. And we watched the last half of Chernobyl Heart. You guys were supposed to make some observations on health issues associated with nuclear energy. We're actually going to watch a video today that's a bit of a contrast. It's going to be an advocate for nuclear energy and in really direct opposition of renewable energy sources. Now, we're going to watch it, we're going to talk about it and see what you think. I think the guy makes some very good points on some interesting points that I had not considered in terms of renewables. And also, nuclear gets a really bad rap primarily from the Chernobyl incident and all the stuff that resulted from that. But to be honest, I think most of that's the fault of the sneaky Russians not doing what they were supposed to. And if you kind of remove that isolated incident of stupidity, which is the only way I can explain what happened there, really there have been a limited number of health effects and problems associated with nuclear energy. It's just the massive radiation that was leaked in that area due to, I can't even say mishap, it's just they turned off cooling towers and stuff, and it seems almost like they wanted to blow up. I don't know. Anyway, before the Russians come after me on the internet, it wasn't you, it was your bad communist friends from the USSR. Yeah, so today we are going over solar energy. We're going to discuss it. No offense to any communist in here or that may have communist tendencies. I'm not making any judgments.
No, I'm not saying that. I said it because I didn't realize what the joke was. You admitted it.
So what did y'all think about the Chernobyl Heart video? DeMar, you didn't watch it, so don't even act like you did. Andrea, did you watch it?
No.
Okay.
It's kind of scary.
Was it just Carrington? Jakayla, did you watch it? You gotta get your life together.
The internet wasn't working.
Full butter.
It's kind of scary, really. I just couldn't watch it. I don't.
Scary. Did you watch the same video as everybody else? It was sad. I don't know about scary. What was scary about it?
Just the effects of that's kind of scary.
Oh, well, I guess so. Well, that does play into our discussion today that if nuclear energy is the best solution for energy, most reliable source of energy, then I think the number one problem, let's say we all agreed that nuclear was the best, it was going to produce the most energy. What would be the number one issue with getting nuclear energy here? If it was the safest, the cleanest, the best, what would be the problem? Where would you want your nuclear energy?
Not near people.
Not near people. So yeah, nobody, even if we made a very convincing argument that nuclear was a safe, clean energy source and that had a very low likelihood of anything bad happening with it, I still think it would be very difficult to talk everyone into putting a nuclear plant 20 miles down the road because, where was it? They were in that one, Carrington, since you're the only one who paid attention, they were in that one older village with a bunch of old people, and they were asking them how much the radiation. And 16 years later, 150 miles from Chernobyl, radiation was still 9 times what it normally should be. And so in other places, it was much higher, closer to the event. 150 miles is a pretty good ways away, too. So that's like here, almost here to here to the Georgia border. So that's that's probably the biggest obstacle with any new nuclear plants in the future is who would want it and where would we put it, because most people don't want it close to them. We do have 2 nuclear plants here in Alabama, and we have never had a problem, but they are getting older, and I'll be interested to see what happens in the future to those plants. All right, let's go to solar. So solar on 347 for those of you at home. Hopefully you got a book. If not, you should have one. If not, ask Mr. Thomas. Solar energy. There are 2 types of solar energy, Jacayla. One is passive and one is active. Active means that you're using some type of system to capture that energy. A lot of times you're using it to change it into some other form of energy, like electrical energy. And then passive is where you're just using those sun's rays to help warm something, but you're not collecting it and storing it, okay, so to speak. So how do you guys use solar energy? I'm sure probably some of y'all may use it on a daily basis. Some of y'all use it every once in a while.
I know there's little lights that are on walkways.
Okay, so yes, maybe around your homes or walkways. There are those little solar lights. They have a little panel. I mean, most of them are very small, and they have a couple little batteries. And then, at night for at least 3 or 4 hours, if the batteries are working right, they'll stay charged in light pathways. What else?
The little sun things, like the little flowers that dance back and forth.
What fairy tale land do you live in? Are you from 06? Are you zoned for the wrong place?
No, I was just thinking.
You know the ones that you put in your car?
Good, yeah. So I was talking about calculators. So most of y'all at some point, or maybe you have one like this, if you got one of the cheaper ones, if you're poor like me, you have these photovoltaic. What is that?
I heard chicken rooster, then I heard hollering or something.
I don't know. All right, so this little thing right here, this is a photovoltaic cell, and well, I can't think of the word. It turns solar energy into what? Electrical energy. So it's transferring energy from one form to another. So solar energy, the electromagnetic waves of the sun, and converting it into electrical energy that we use. It could be in like the things that like the pathways. It could be, you could even scale it up to larger solar cells that some people put on their homes, although it's pretty rare around here because our electricity is pretty cheap. And to be honest, solar panels are pretty expensive around here. Alabama Power is also, they charge you so much to have solar panels hooked into the grid. Yeah.
This might be a dumb question, but
There are no dumb questions in here.
This is kind of dumb. Do those lights count as sun on your calculator?
Well, it's the same type of light. So, I mean, you can use that light. It's just artificial.
My calculator's never been in the sun before. Like, I don't think.
No. I mean, yeah.
So it's just light.
You're just using any kind of light, but normally you think of, yeah. Well, we're specifically talking about solar because we're talking about where to get energy sources from. But yes, you are correct. Most of your calculators, you are using just the light inside the room. So that is true. I was playing pretend. All right. Where are we going with that? I guess you could use solar panels to make electricity and then use that electricity to light your room and then use that light in order to power the solar panel or photovoltaic cell on your calculator. That'd be a real transfer of energy right there. Although I'm not sure super effective. All right, photovoltaic cells capture light energy from the sun and transfer it directly into electrical energy. Their use is limited to what? Solar panels, what is their use limited to? More specific. Daytime, okay. What else? What limits solar energy? The what? Okay, weather. So do you think there's a lot of solar power out today?
Yeah. No.
I don't know. I wasn't paying attention.
Well,
So-
if
No,
it's
it's not.
storing it, it gave us enough yesterday that
Who said it's storing it?
that's what we said it was.
Nobody said anything about
No,
storing.
it's-
Now, a calculator like this, it does say solar cell calculator with battery backup. Most homes and things that have solar panels and most solar arrays, like where you have large amounts of solar panels like they have out in the desert in some places where they make solar energy. Most of those places do not have anywhere to store that energy. So and this is one thing that I did not understand about energy up until a few days ago, and I was watching some TED Talks trying to find something for you guys that I thought was good. When let's say in the summertime, when it's hot outside, we turn on the air conditioner. Whoever's running the hydroelectric plant over here or the steam plant where they burn natural gas, like they're monitoring the electricity that's pulled out of the grid, so out of the electrical wires. And if people start using that electricity, what do they have to do?
Make it again.
They have to make more. So let's say everybody starts turning on their air conditioner at 9 or 10 in the morning on a hot summer day. Well, they're going to have to turn up the dial on the gas in order to burn some more of that in order to make more electricity to go out on the grid. So they've got to keep up with what's being pulled out. If you have more being pulled out than you're making, you're going to wind up having what? What do they call it when the power goes out because you're not got enough for the grid? Outage, blackouts, usually. You may have heard that term. So anyway, you've got to maintain that. And if let's say we have a bunch of solar panels and we make a lot of solar energy during the day and we don't use it all, well, there's no way of storing it on the grid for nighttime. It's made, those electrons go out on the grid, that movement of electricity, and if it's not used then, you're not going to be able to use it later on, okay? So there's no real good storage for that extra solar energy that happens during the day. Now, if you had a home tomorrow and you wanted to install solar panels and live off grid, maybe become a prepper because you're all paranoid about the government like me, then you could do that, but you would have to install some type of battery system in your home where you could store that energy and then use it at nighttime or when it's cloudy out and when there's not a lot of sun. Or even in the wintertime, even if it is sunny, what's the problem, Jacayla? If you got solar panels running the joint, what's the problem that you're going to have in the wintertime? Even if it's sunny out. What?
It's cold and it freezes over the thing.
No, it's Alabama. Pretend you're in Venezuela again. What?
It's not as warm. Does heat have anything to do with it?
Warmth, no, but you're getting closer.
There's no cold. It's so cold. There's no cold season in Venezuela. There's no winter.
Do we get as much sun's energy in the wintertime as we do in the summertime? No. So the sun's off at an angle, right? So you're not getting as many direct rays. There's less light intensity, which is going to affect your production of solar energy, okay?
And the sun goes down way earlier.
Well, yeah, and in the wintertime, there's much less daylight, so you're going to have much less energy produced. That in combination with, you really got three things. There's less sunlight. The sun's angles are not as direct, so you're not getting much light intensity. And in the wintertime here, it's usually rainier and cloudier than it is in the summertime or fall or even late spring. So you've got all those things working against you this time of year. Now, I would say this, maybe if you had some solar panels hooked up to your home and in the summertime when it's really hot and you got your air conditioner turned wide open, Jacayla, it might be beneficial if you had some solar panels up that help to assist the air conditioner because during the day when you're getting lots of sun, you're going to produce lots of electricity and you can use that to cool your home. So perhaps in that way it would be beneficial. It's what happens with all that extra. How is the power company letting you put it back on the grid? Do you have some way of storing it for later? Solar panels are expensive. You know what else is expensive? Batteries and storage systems. So these are all things that you have to consider. Most people, from what I've read, it's probably going to take them 10 to 20 years to pay back whatever they spent in solar panels. Solar panels probably only last 20, 25 years from the ones that I've heard. So you know what that means? By the time you get done paying it off, they're about worn out and you got to start and buy some more again. And they're really expensive. So most people don't want to pay that cost up front for solar panels if they're not going to see a return on it fairly quickly, okay? So those are some issues going forward, and we'll talk about some others. Active solar systems use solar energy to heat a liquid through mechanical and electrical equipment. 2, let's turn over. What's other ways you can actively use solar besides using solar panels? Page 359. At the bottom of 359, on the roof of this house, we have a solar collector. So the sun hits this collector. It's probably black, absorbs lots of heat. It heats the circulating liquid. That liquid then goes back to the house, and it can be used to heat the home if you've got some type of circulation system going throughout the home, or it could be used to heat your hot water. So that's a way of collecting that solar energy and using it in your home to do something to serve some purpose, like heating your home or heating your hot water. Okay. Now, the other type of solar energy is called passive solar energy, okay? Passive is where you're using the heat to heat something up directly, but you're not able to really store it or use it later or turn it into some other type of energy source. And while we're on this page 359, at the top of 359, Carrington, what's this lady trying to do? Is she trying to get a suntan with this thing?
No, it looks like she's trying to cook some or boil some water or something.
Okay, so what are these things that they have out?
They're like little reflectors of the light.
Yeah, so fourth period was not aware of what I was talking about, but any of y'all use those things in your car with the visors where you put them like in your front windshield to block the sun out so it doesn't get so hot? You use one of those? Okay. You know what they are. They kind of look like this. They're this shiny material usually, and so they're blocking the sun out. Well, it's kind of the opposite of that. They're using it to actually reflect, instead of reflect the heat out, they're using these to reflect the heat in to a central point. And you can see they've got a bunch of different pots there in each one, and they're covered with plastic bags. And basically what's happening is they're directing the heat in. They're using it to either sanitize water, which maybe is what she's doing there, but you can also use them to cook with. So I've seen some of these where they're like, companies make these like fancy ones where like where they're insulated on the sides, they've got a top on them, and then they've got these reflectors that fold out, and like you can cook a chicken with them, you can cook bread with them, you can cook a bunch of stuff. Now, typically it takes longer because it's not gonna give you as high a temperature as a normal oven would or a fire. But what are they trying to reduce here in this picture?
Like
Andrea, read that caption for us.
non-renewable energy sources.
No, read that caption for us.
Oh wait. Residents of this refugee camp in Chad use solar cookers to conserve firewood.
Conserve firewood. So Chad's in North Central Africa. I don't know who named that place, but anyway, you could tell in the background there, they don't have a lot of trees and a lot of firewood to spare. And so what they're trying to do is preserve what little bit of wood they have. One, to help things grow, and two, if they need it for something else more important, maybe building homes or something. And in order to conserve that firewood, they don't need to use it all the wood they have for cooking. So this is one way that they can cook, they can sanitize their water without wasting or using more firewood, okay? All right, another way you can use, well, let's look on 358. Where in the United States would be the best place to use solar panels?
The bottom and the bottom.
Yeah, I mean, like I would have settled for the Southwest. So the desert Southwest, it's desert, so there's not as many clouds. You get the most light intensity throughout the year, most solar radiation, and so that's the best place if you were using solar. We get quite a bit of solar energy here in the Southeast, and there's also quite a bit up through the Midwest too. So lots of places could use solar panels if they were efficient enough and cost effective. All right, let's flip back on our passive solar and let's pretend we're all 10 years down the road and we're fixing to build our first home. 347. Exciting in there. Not every boring stuff we're talking about. So, I wish I loved anything as much as Mr. Bolton loves chemistry. And scream. Damar, let's say that you're going to build a home and you want to build a home that's super energy efficient. and you want to take advantage of the passive solar energy of the sun. So, and you're going to build it around here somewhere. So, you want to take advantage of the sun's rays coming in and helping to heat your home in the wintertime. But you don't want those sun's rays to come in and heat up your home excessively in the summertime. So, if you were to pick a side of the house, north, south, east, or west, and put a large bank of windows to let sun in the wintertime, but where it wouldn't let sun in the summertime, which side of the house would you put the windows on? You all think about this because he's going to get it wrong.
You said
Which side of the house are you going to put a bunch of windows in to let sun in to help heat your home in the wintertime, but where it won't heat the house up in the summertime?
the south.
Well, south.
Well, if the sun, if the earth is going to rotate, I don't know. I'm thinking because, well, I don't know.
Carrington?
Would you put them on the west side? Because the sun sets and it'll be warmer.
What about when the sun sets in the summertime? Wouldn't it also be warm?
Yeah, but there'd be.
You still have your windows.
Wait, I meant the opposite side then. Because you want to wait. I didn't think.
Caleb, what do you think? I'm going to give y'all a hint.
How was it?
It is the south, but I just read the comment.
What?
I said I just read the.
You read the comment about the south side,
Yeah.
but you don't know why?
No.
All right, so south, yeah, cat's out of the hat. Let's see if it jumps here. So normally in the summertime, in this room, like let's pretend it was like the ceiling see-through. The sun's going to come up over there about the door. It's going to go straight overhead, and it's going to come down over here, okay? In the wintertime, like now, the sun comes up on the horizon over there about the sink, and it comes up above where the wall is and comes down about where the sink is over here. So which side of the room, which side would we want those windows facing to get sun in the wintertime?
This one.
Yes, which would be the
South.
south side. Good. So east, west, north, south. So if they're on the south side, sun's going to come in in the wintertime. Now flip over to 348. Hopefully this will make more sense. 348, you can see when that sun is low in the winter on the south side in the wintertime, it's going to come in, and if you've got good windows that are insulated, just like in your car, sunlight comes in, it's going to heat it up inside. And in the wintertime, that's a good thing because if you're using the sun to help heat your home up, you're not doing what? You're not using much electricity. Good. Now, in the summertime, the sun's going to be higher overhead, so it's not going to come in through those windows. And so it won't heat your home up excessively, okay? Now, what's one other thing that you can put around your home that will let sunlight in the wintertime, but it won't let sunlight in the summertime? Okay, overhangs are helpful. That's not what I was going for. Somebody said blinds and curtains. That's for sure helpful. That's not what I'm thinking of. What about on the outside of your home? Both of those things are good, though, by the way. We're not a shut-in. Let's not get crazy. What can you put outside your home that will let sun in the wintertime, but keep it out in the summertime? Where you can still see through the windows. What kind?
Summer plants.
Trees. What kind?
I was gonna say that, but I feel like I don't have a good explanation.
Please, I don't know.
Oh,
What kind of trees would you not want to put out?
evergreens.
Evergreens. Because evergreens would shade it in the winter and summer. But deciduous trees, what do they do in the winter? They lose their leaves, so the sun would come in. And in the summertime, when it's hot, they have leaves, so they would help to shade your home. Dang, y'all are good. Y'all are gonna have the best homes one day. You're gonna plant trees all around it.
But why
And-
would you want trees right by your house?
I mean, just like close by.
Oh, okay.
You don't like trees? I don't mean like on top of the house,
I
but
was
I'm.
thinking like the window and like here's a tree.
Let's not get that carried away.
You just gotta angle it.
I didn't mean like, obscenely close where a tornado comes and it falls on it, but close enough where when the sun comes by that it's blocking a lot of the heat.
Some bushes that come right outside.
Yeah, I think we're so tornado happy around Tuscaloosa that everybody's just like, let's just cut all the trees down and turn the air conditioner wide open and hope for the best. And then they go outside and it's like 5,000 degrees and they're like, I wonder why it's so hot here. And I'm like, oh, where are your trees? Maybe if you had a forest, it wouldn't be so hot. All right, page 361. Solar energy systems have low environmental impact. I would say comparatively to like coal, they do. But we're going to talk about there are some environmental problems associated with solar energy. And the guy in the video brings up quite a few good issues to think about when you're thinking about solar or wind energy. Because normally we think of those as those are renewable energy sources, they're clean energy sources because they don't emit CO2 or air pollutants. But there are other environmental issues that can result from using them. So, the top of 361, one of my favorite terms in the whole book here. Read 1319 for us, Jacayla.
Mirrors and reflectors concentrate the sun's energy onto a power tower,
Power tower.
which uses the sunlight to heat water and make steam for electricity generation.
All right, so this is a little bit different in terms of electricity generation. Normally, you would just have a large solar array where you had lots of solar panels absorbing solar energy. In this case, they are reflecting that energy basically by using mirrors and these reflectors into this power tower. And in doing so, they're helping to heat up water, turn steam, use a generator to create electricity, and make electricity in that form, okay? So I'm not sure if that's more effective or why they're using that, but another interesting way of doing that. Now, the guy in the video says there's quite a few birds each year that fly around these things that get like they actually like burst into flames because there's so much energy going into this power tower. I mean, you got to imagine it's a lot of heat to. You could almost think of it like a magnifying glass on an ant on the ground in the summertime. If you've ever tortured an ant, don't do that at home. And you know what I'm talking about? You've heard of people doing that? People on the streets, yes. So anyway, it's kind of like that. You're magnifying that energy into a central point, and if you're a bird and you fly through where that heat energy is being concentrated, like boom, feathers catch on fire. Now I saw some of the birds; it looked like their feathers had kind of like got singed. They didn't like burn to a crisp or anything, which is what I was kind of hoping to see, but no, it didn't happen. Be one way to cook your chickens. Anyway, so another environmental issue. And anytime that you build these large solar arrays, what do you have to do to the landscape?
Clear it out.
You clear it out. So you're clearing out habitat. If we did that around here, just imagine how much forest or fields we would have to clear out in order to put one of those in place. So that's an issue you also have to consider with large solar array systems like this. Okay, so in the video, we're going to watch, it's going to talk about some pros and cons for both these renewable sources, which we traditionally think of as good, clean energy sources, and nuclear, which we all think is a dirty word, especially for Carrington after she watched Chernobyl Heart yesterday, and the three of you at home that watched it. But you really need to watch that because I'm probably going to give you all some quiz questions on it next week. Chernobyl Heart is a very good example of what happens when we are not diligent in making sure that we maintain safety regulations in dangerous situations. So hopefully that never happens again. We've been lucky here in the U.S. I don't know if we've been lucky or if we've been just smart. We've never had a major meltdown. The one in 3 Mile Island was pretty benign. We were fortunate there wasn't a big explosion, but not really much radiation leaked from it. So we'll see about the benefits of nuclear. Like I say, I don't know that anybody's going to want to build any new nuclear plants just because people don't want that stigma or that close to them. But for the most part, they seem pretty safe. Okay? All right.